who's in the market for Valentine's Day cards? I've got some fun DIY Valentine's Day cards for you today. Some do not use any Valentine's Day themes at all, and some do. So let's get right to it, and I'll get you covered for Valentine's Day this year. All right, for my first card, I just grabbed a die cut. I had a heart shape. You don't have to use a heart if you don't have one, or you can freehand cut it with scissors if you want. And I die cut it with some very thin copy paper, and I'm using my Wow Embossing ink pad and just swiping over the top. I am holding that heart down with my finger. I did not use any supplies to secure that heart in place or anything like that. And at this point, I'm going to put on 3 different color Wow embossing powders. I sprinkle on a color, then I funnel that color back into the bottle, and then I move on to the second color, and then I'll heat set all at once. So I decided I wanted a little bit of light pink, dark pink, and some like salsa orange. The exact colors of the powders that I'm using will be linked below in the description for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat set that, and then I'll be left with this really cool heart card. And I just found a sentiment and some random stamp set in my craft room, and wada bang, easy peasy. Your kids can do it. You can mass produce this like no one's business. Just all you need is some thin copy paper, printer paper, freehand the heart. I'm not good at cutting, so I used a die, but you can do it. And then if you don't have a fun sentiment, handwrite it on that white space. Now I did the same thing, but this time I used the Wow refill. It's on a roller ball, and I just did the same thing as I did with the embossing pad, but I used the refill instead. And then I was left with this, and I think I like this one better because I like all those fun little striped marks, right? So again, grabbed a sentiment. If you don't have it, you got that whole white space. Write your little Valentine a note right there. So here's 2 easy peasy cards. So easy to mass produce, right? I think so. All right, next up, I do have a Valentine's themey stencil that I've never used, so I'm going to go ahead and use this. So I'm going to stick that down onto some cardstock, and I'm using 3 different colors of my Catherine Pooler inks. This color is Bellini. I just love it, and I am not taking any care to blend this in. You can see it's splotchy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. It's not going to matter. So then I'm going to take the second part of the stencil and kind of piece it into place. And then I'm going to go in with Rockin Red, which is the red color I'm using now, and kind of just ink blend right on that word love. And then I'll go in with the pink color, which is called Party Dress, and then go around and kind of intensify all the hearts with that pink. But the base of the heart is going to remain that orange or that Bellini color. You'll see when I pull it off. I'm not making a hill of beans sense. But so I got 3 colors in here. Talk about mass produce, and that's it. I didn't need a sentiment. I didn't need nothing. Zippity doodah, nothing. This card is it, and I think it's so pretty and striking. Your kids can do it, and you can mass produce it like no one's business. Now, this is an oopsie card. It's the same stencil, the same everything, the same colors, but I messed up when I was ink blending the word love from the stencil. So I just took a speech bubble die cut and covered it up, and no one will ever know the wiser, and wada bang. So don't trash it. If you mess up, if you're stenciling or ink blending and you mess it up, maybe you can cover it up with a die. Maybe you can cover it up with a sentiment. Maybe you can cover it up with an embellishment. Try before you trash it. I happen to like this one. All right, now here's another one you can mass produce. You can just make a background, just line up your watercolor cardstock and just make a bunch of backgrounds. I took the red and pink ink, smushed it onto my craft mat, and added some water. And then I'm going to go in and paint an ombre background, if I will. So I'm going a little heavy-handed with the red on the bottom of the card, and then as I work my way up, I add a little bit more water to lighten it up. Once it's dry, I just stamped a couple of images. This is not a Valentine's Day stamp set, but wild about you. It's kind of punny for Valentine's Day, right? So I just stamped those images and flicked on some black paint. And I also, these inks react to water, so I flicked on some water in that background too. So that's those water droplets that you see. And I just happen to like this quite a bit. So you can just make a bunch of backgrounds. And if you don't have any Valentine stamps or whatever, then just write a message on it. Done. Here I'm taking the orange, which is the Bellini, and the red, which is Rockin Red, swiped it onto some watercolor cardstock, and then I added a ton of water. I'm holding the card panel up and down so I can get those drip marks. And then I will either zap this with my heat tool or let it air dry, but you know, I'm going to zap it with my heat tool. I don't got time for air drying. And then it created this really fun background. And sometimes I just sit down and create a bunch of backgrounds at one time. And then I have all these backgrounds that I can turn into cards later. So I took this skyscrape die I had in my stash. I think it's from Hutson. Again, everything I'm using will be linked below for you. And I stamped a little sentiment on it to kind of make it punny and Valentine's Day themey. And this card is done. Wada bang. So I think this turned out cute. And I really love the black against that background. It's just really striking. It looks like a sunset. All right, so for my last card, I am using a product that I just got in the mail. I have never tried it. It's the foil quill that you actually plug in. It's a USB. So I have it plugged into my computer, that little pen thing on the left-hand side, and it's heating up. I'm using this straight out of the package, and I was like, hey, I'm going to freehand me a Valentine's Day card. Well, kind of freehand. I'm going to cheat because you can cheat in crafting. It's okay. So I'm going to take the foil that came with the foil quill and place it over a piece of black cardstock. And then I have this magnetic cutting mat thing I also got in the mail. I bought all this myself. And the hardest part is just getting my foil down, apparently. So anyway, so then it has these little magnetic strips, and I'm just putting it down there so it holds my foil over my cardstock and nothing shifts around or anything like that. And then I had a die cut that I just die cut. It is a Valentine's Day themey die cut. And I just die cut it onto some white cardstock so I can actually turn this into a card later if I want to. And I'm going to use it like a stencil. So this little foil quill doodad is all heated up. I didn't touch it to verify it's heated up, but it totally is. And as I'm going through the hearts, I can actually see the foil kind of crinkling up. So it's melting. Let me zoom you in a little. There, you can see what I'm doing. So the foil is actually melting. So at first I was just going to outline a few of these hearts. I'm not doing all the hearts and all that. I'm just kind of going here and there. I didn't even know if this was going to work because I'm trying this. I literally peeled open this package right before I pressed the play button to film this. So I'm going in, outlining the hearts. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to really put this baby to use and see if it actually works. And I like this better. You do have like these foil quill pens that you can use with your Cricut machine, but then you got to pull that out. You got to put it in the Cricut, pull out the Cricut. This pen you just plug into a USB port. I'm using my computer and that's it. And I like that. So I peeled up the cardstock, the stencil, if you will. I'm writing I love you on the center space. And then I said, I'm going to go in and color in some of these hearts. I want to see if this really works good. I want to see if this is going to melt some of the solid areas of the heart. So I'm just kind of looking at all of that melted mess and see if I need a heart here or there. Now I did a slow motion thing for you guys. Ooh, for effect. Ready? Let's peel it back, peel it back. Is it going to work? I don't know. I don't know. Oh my gosh. It worked. It totally worked. Ignore my horrible handwriting. It's just so bad. And then I can take the foil. If I need to add a heart, I can lay the foil over it. I think I do that. Yeah, I do. And I was like, I think I need a little heart in that upper left-hand corner. So let me kind of put the foil back down and add me a little heart. So yeah, I love this thing. And because you can plug it in to your computer or any USB, I will use this because those little foil quills I have for my Cricut, I've never used because I don't want to pull out the Cricut. So here's a look at this card. I think it's cool. So you can just freehand your Valentine's Day cards and call it a day and jazz it up a little bit because it's foiled. Oh yeah. So here's all the cards I made. DIY cards for Valentine's Day. So easy, right? Do you have a favorite? Now I'm going to get to the question of the day. I always say leave me a question in the comments of my videos and I'll pick one to answer in the next video. So if you've got a question, whether it's craft related or not, as long as it's G-rated, leave it below in the comments and I'll pick one to answer. So here is this one. Neneto, love the white on white card, so many good ideas. When you sit down to craft, is it something you plan to do or is it spontaneous? How long do you work and what time of day or night is it usually? Okay, so I sit down, I never have a plan. Ever, ever, ever. I know what product I'm going to use, but everything else is spontaneous. Hopefully stuff will turn out. If I try to plan it or get specific, I end up messing up and it stresses me out, and that is no fun. I usually craft during the day because my kids are at school. And sometimes I get up in the wee early mornings and do watercoloring and things like that. But that I don't ever film because it's pitch black outside. So yeah, so if you've got a question, leave it below in the comments and I'll pick one to answer for my next video. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you found some of these Valentine's Day cards helpful. Here's a couple other videos that you might want to check out. And if you're not a subscriber, why? Click that button and subscribe if you want. That'll make me so happy. Thanks for watching.